all my YouTube friends all the way around the world and back again. I'm just coming on to show you some things that I have done using tracing paper. Where are my props gone? I hope you're all well. Right, so let's create with Wilko A4 tracing paper, 60 GSM. So not your typical thin, super thin tracing paper. It has actually got a little bit of structure to it. And it's very similar to the vellum that you would normally get. So I'm going to show you some of the things that is possible to do with tracing paper. I'm sure you've come up with ideas of your own, and I'm hoping the lighting is good here because I'm in a different position today. So I thought, well, what can we do with tracing paper other than trace through it? So I've got some ideas here. I haven't finished off some of the things. And the first thing obviously would be the base layer here, just plain tracing paper. I'm going to have to bring this quite close for you to see. And then I just got some wax crayons and I scribbled all over it. Now that may not be coming up very well on camera, but it is quite colourful, but still see-through to a certain degree. It's almost like opaque rather than see-through, okay? And then I thought, okay, what else could we do with it? Let's see what works the best. So if I keep these in the light, hopefully you'll be able to see them better. So these were embossed on. So I got an embossing folder. This particular one I used. And all of my products that I use are from China. So then, unless I tell you otherwise. Embossing folders, stencils, stamps, mainly from China, unless I tell you otherwise, okay? So don't panic if you don't have an embossing folder. I've got other things you can do. But with the embossing folder, I then took a slice of just clear and embossed it. And then I cut with my scissors, wiggly scissors as I call them, an edge. So it looks a bit postcardy. And then I'm going to just go through some ideas. Well, what could you use this for? So on some watercolour card I did this earlier, you could actually mount it and make a front for it, a back for it rather, so that you can still see the background but still have the embossed part, and you can have that reverse, negative or positive reverse. You can't see, that won't pick it up on camera, I don't think. So just as some ideas as to once you've cut your, I'm going to say vellum stroke tracing paper out, what can you then use it for? And these are just some ideas, okay? So this is just watercoloured stock card, and it's heavy card. It's Bold Mia A4 Artists. In fact, I'll just pop and get it. That's a bit easier than me waffling it out. So the watercolour card is this one that I've used, and 300 GSM cold press surface, okay? And this was from The Works in the UK. I don't think they do. I really had a job getting it recently, so I kind of bought quite a few packs of it because it's really good if you're working with, for the ladies and gents out there that do leaf printing, you know, hot water printing of leaves and nature. But it's excellent. It's great thickness, you see, for card. For card, of course it's card, for book covers. But again, let's get back to the tracing paper vellum bit. You could use that over the top. And again, you don't necessarily have to attach it all the way around. You could just put an eyelet in there, and now I think I've got too much light. You could put a little, what do you call them? Those things with the prongs on. A little, not a crocodile clip, but you could use a crocodile clip, couldn't you? On the top of and use this as a background page, and then you can lift it up and do whatever you want with it. I think a little brad you could put in the top of that, so you could move it around. So that's one idea. You could actually make a card out of it and use it on a very, very dark background, just a black piece of card, and mount it on a black piece of card, and that would look great. Now, if you've got the raised side up, what you can also do is then do what I call a rubbing on it. So you just get something like a distress ink pad and just gently rub over the top, and it picks up the raised areas only, which will then highlight the actual image for you. So that's just another way you could use it. What else did I think of? So I embossed this one, and again, this one could be attached to, again, a journal page. I could just, let me just get one of my cards and then I'll show you. So you could attach it to a journal page. You could sew down the side of it there, give it some interest, and then you have your journal page underneath. Now, I know this is not a journal page, but it could be. And I'm going to get to this in a minute, okay? So, again, you could have a piece of card, and you could stitch down the edge, make some interesting, and you don't necessarily have to use the pattern positive side up. You could use it negative side up. So that's another way you could use it. Then there's obviously the die cutting. Now I did I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you this one. Let's get this down here. This was the flower. No, that's not a flower. It's so not a flower. It's so not. Bear with. It's a butterfly, right? A butterfly die cut. Okay. And that has come out pretty good. Let me just get out of the light a minute so you can really see it. Ooh, that way. Oh, where am I going? Okay. So this was pre-coloured. Now what this was cut out of is also something you can do. So I made a background. Just, that's good. I wanted to test different things that worked on it. Acrylics definitely work on it. Watercolours not so much, because it it crinkles the paper up too much. But this is watercolour, and no, this is acrylic background and just watercolour crayons. And I just coloured all over it and squiggled all over it. That comes into use, okay? So you've got that crinkly bit as well. So you could make beautiful ephemera, that's the word I'm looking for. And I've done some more here for you. But what I've done is different to that. So you could make ephemera out of it by die cutting, or by cutting out, fussy cutting some stuff out, or even just by, you could stamp on it. Now, if you stamped on it, remember you'd need to use a permanent ink-based die, which would be something like an archival, and it probably would take a bit of time to dry. I haven't done one, otherwise I'd have all my supplies out forever. And so the next bit was, I thought I'll cut some tags out of the let's just get this the right way up. I think I've got too much light now coming. Let me just see if I can alter this. I need it to go in the right direction. But you're actually standing on a chair right now, on a box. And we're not facing them. We're facing the window, which is the wrong way to be, really, in this lounge area. So I've cut them out. Let me just bring it up a little bit closer, and I have also embossed them. Let's go that way a little bit. So you've got the just see the embossing a little bit on that one. So that was cut out of this piece that I'd scribbled on. And you can see that it actually is really nice, and it gives it super duper texture. I know you probably can't see the embossed bit on camera because it's so you can't see it very well, I don't think. I can't see when I'm looking at my screen anyway, so I don't know whether you can actually see it when I play this back. So again, 3 ways you could use these, and again, you could stitch around them. These have got a faux stitch. Let me just show you that. So these are different sizes, 4 different sizes, and again, these were from China. And these give a faux stitch edge on whatever I cut out, which is nice. But it's also nice that there you go, you can start to see it now. It's also nice that I could actually stitch around that. I haven't. And then I could attach all 3 together if I wanted to put in a journal or to use as tags on a parcel or whatever you so wish to do. Some more ideas there. So you don't just have to have plain, you could have coloured, you could have painted, you could have embossed, you could have die cut, you could have bossed and in die cut. So there's plenty of options for you. So this one I am going to use, well, I'm going to try in a second, to do a pocket. I've actually got a plain one here rather than cutting this one up to show you. Oh, I'll tell you what else we did. What have I done with it? Oh, tell you what else, sorry, going back a little bit, what else I did. I wanted to try it, and I actually did it straight onto the pad. Bring in the next product. I texture pasted straight onto the vellum. It's called tracing paper, but it's very much like vellum. Takes a bit of time to dry, and I would suggest you dry it naturally, but it's lovely and raised. So again, you could use that, could you not, on a background. I mean, you could go straight onto here, couldn't you? But to add a little bit more depth to whatever your project is and a little bit more interest, you could fussy cut these out, you could attach them that way, you could sew it on, so you could attach it that way, or you could just use, again, something, a project, maybe a card that you've already done, and place it over the top. And again, stitch it on, so that you could, just see if I can stand this up and show you. So again, you could just cut that out and stick that onto something else, and you would still see the background because it's vellum. Now I know the other thing you can do that I haven't done, and that is to make it into vellum by putting oil on it. Now I don't particularly like that method. Well, I do. I don't disagree with the method, let's put it like that, but I don't see a reason for it. I don't see a purpose for me doing it that way when this is 60 gram already, and it's not, it's thick enough to be sort of vellumy. So I am going to see if I can give you some more ideas of ways to use these. I'm sure you've got your own ideas of how to use them. So I'm just going to make a quick pocket. Well, it's not going to be a quick pocket because I can't do anything quickly these days. Let me just sew that down like that. Or do I want corners? Let me get to these in a second. No, I think I'll have it like that. So again, you could just take, I have got a corner punch, but I'm not going to go and squiggle it out of my box, so we'll just cut that ish round. I say ish because it's not round properly on either side, but you get the idea, right? I'll get to the texture paste in a second. So let's just stitch one of these up. So I've just stitched across the top quite a few times, just randomly. It's not even straight, and I don't want it to be. So I'm just going to stitch up the side. Now you could do this in any stitch, but to be honest, I just don't bother with that bit. I am going to go back forward, and I am just going to find the top. Oh, my cotton was coming threaded. I'll come back to you in a second. So, because my machine is really not having it today, it's having none of it, basically you would sew up around the top, around the edge, and then you'd have yourself a nice little pocket that again you could put into a journal. So, back to, first of all, the texture paste. Let's have a look at, what did I do? Where did I do it on? Okay, you just bring in this piece and bring in this stencil. Okay, so this stencil, oh no, not that stencil, I'm talking complete and utter rubbish. Where did I put the stencil? There it is. So, start again. Sorry guys. So with this stencil, see if you can see better on there, I have used the texture paste on watercolour paper. This stencil is from China. Texture paste, or structure paste as it's called here, and it's actually the smooth one. This is actually the smooth one. They did a couple of different types, and this is from, in England it's called Tiger, but they're a Netherlands company, I believe, and they have this. It shows that it's just a smoothish structure, but they did do a coarse one and another one. So, and it was just £2 for the pot, and I do believe that's a 75ml pot. But the writing's so small I can't read it even with my glasses on. But it's a good texture paste. It's nice. It works really lovely. And this is the texture paste I used on there, and it does work really well, and I thought, great, for a good price of £2, I thought I'll try it, and it's worked out really well. So, and it's dried beautifully, hasn't cracked. So again, this is just a sample I did, but I will use these on cards later at some point. So, just letting you know, the texture paste is from Tiger. I think that's what we call it, or is it just Tiger? They do loads of different things there anyway. I think it's Tiger. So, on to some other exciting things that you can do. So, let's just recap on the tracing paper, okay? So you can just get some from Wilko, as you can see, that's in the UK. And this was just, I think it was £2. I don't even think it was that much. I think it was about £1.50 maybe. And you get 30 sheets, and it's, as I say, it's good and sturdy. So you can do pockets, you can do use them as embellishments, you can texture paste on them, you can emboss them, you can sew with it, you can die cut with it. So I'm sure all of the same things that you've used on paper and card and different materials, you probably wouldn't, maybe you've thought of using the tracing paper, but as a vellum and putting oil on it and just using it sort of for pockets, Whereas I've decided, well, what else could I use it for other than tracing on? And tracing paper can be used for a multitude of things if you think outside of that box. So I'm sure you could come up with some more that I haven't come up with, but these are just my ideas and I just wanted to come on and share with you. So on to my upcycling scenario projects, and I always upcycle. When I send my goods out from my Etsy shop, I really do try and upcycle and do my best to keep the packaging still really nice, but the outer packaging tends to be upcycled packaging. And I've done one here just to show you. So this, again, I've received something in this package. Can't remember what was in this one, but it's a bubble wrap one inside. Okay, so just a small mailer. I don't know what you call these. A mail light gold it's called. Anyway, so to structure it a little bit more, most of the time what I will do is I will cover them in paper, or I will cover them with an embossed paper, and then put the sticker, the address on. Okay, just to reuse the packaging. And what I've done with this particular one, and I never thought of doing that before, and I don't know why. When you put stuff in the mail, the mailman, especially here in the UK, Royal Mail really don't care what's inside your package. Although they have got better over the years, if you put fragile on it, they'll be a little bit more careful. But if you've got something that you don't want to bend, and you don't want to buy any more packaging that have got the cardboard bits in that make it unbendable for the postman to squish it all around and chuck it. They do. If you was to see what happened to your mail, you probably would never mail again. So what I've done with this one is I've utilised the toilet roll upcycle bit, and these toilet rolls I've decoupaged with tissue, serviette. I think they're called serviettes, you know, dinner table napkins, paper ones, all different designs, and not all my toilet rolls are the same, depends on where I get them from. So these again can be either made into, folded in half and made into little booklets because they're really sturdy, or little thank you cards, which is what I tend to do. But again, on top of that, you could also use the vellum, could you not? And use it inside a journal, okay? Because you'd still see the background of the picture. So what I did with these, I've done heaps of these because I love doing them, and I always keep them in my stash for use because they're pretty sturdy toilet rolls. But what came to mind was I could stick one of those on the front of a mailer. So that makes it a little bit more sturdy as well, but it would still make it the same size, and it makes it a little bit more interesting to look at. So that is a toilet roll, upcycled toilet roll, stuck onto here. And again, you could stick another one on the back if you wanted to, could you not? You could. To strengthen it even more, because there's no way they're going to bend that, or they might try, but it's going to be less bendable, for want of a better word, through the post. And these are actually a great size for this particular envelope. So it's just another way of reusing your packaging so that you've still got good packaging. So when you get something in the mail, don't just rip the top off, try and open it so that you can reuse it. This particular one came apart really easily for some reason, but some of them they don't, and you'd need to cut just a slither off so that you can still use the packaging and then seal it all back up. And I save all my packaging and reuse it, especially for outer packaging. I will always wrap my products inside the packaging really as best I can and as pretty as I can if I'm actually mailing anything out. So it's just another idea that you could use to strengthen an envelope even. You don't need to use these ones with little bubble this has got one layer of bubble wrap inside, but you wouldn't need to do that. You could actually place these inside if you wanted to, but I thought, why not place them on the outside, because that would make it even sturdier and prettier. Okay, so it's just another idea for you to work with when you're working with upcycling. And again, on these you could texture paste over the top and add some more interest to these. Okay, so that, my friends, is all I have for you today. Not a very structured video, because I went off on a few tangents and my didn't flow as well as I wanted it to. Now, I'm hoping this is coming through okay. Now, I'm going to apologise for any noise in the background, which you probably will pick up on, because it's the road, which is quite far away, but when the wind's blowing in a certain direction, the noise of the road is actually a little bit louder. And it's loud because I have my windows open. And you may actually hear the rain as well now, because it's seriously chucking it down, which is fine. And it may have gone darker in here because there's no lights on. So really just to say thank you for joining me. Apologies for the background noise, but it's natural. I'm not going to edit any of it out. I like to record naturally. What else have I got to tell you? I don't think there's anything else really. I just hope that you enjoy working with some tracing paper. Maybe it's giving you some inspiration or some ideas to think about. Oh, actually I could do that, or oh, that's given me an idea, and inspired you to rethink about how you use the vellum or tracing paper in your projects, because it's not just tracing paper. It is a lot more than that if you just get creative. And to loosen that creativity up, you have to start playing with things. Even if you've never worked with it, don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to, well, I wonder what would happen if I did that. And if it doesn't work out, then you can either keep going and get better at it, or you can try another way. But there's always a way, isn't there, with crafting? So there isn't anything else I've really been up to to keep you up to date, and other than it's into autumn now in the UK, and the weather is changing, which is great, because autumn is my favouriteest season of all seasons, even though I was born in the spring. I love the change of colours. So let's get inspired and be inspired by autumn and the change. Now, I'm going to do a little bit now on the effects of the change of the seasons within our lives. So if you don't want to get into that energy side of things that I do, then see ya. Have a great day. But if you do, then continue to listen and watch, and hopefully again it'll give you something to think about as to why maybe you're feeling a little bit cranky some days. So thank you for joining me, and of course, like to everybody, I'm not going to push you to subscribe or push you to, like or thumbs up or anything. You've got your own mind, you know whether you want to do that or not. And I'm going to ask you to, but not, and encourage you to, but again, you don't have to if you don't want to. I have, and I will say it on every video if I can remember to say it, I disabled the comments simply because I can, and it just saves me time. I'd love to hear from you, and I would love to be part of your conversation, but there just seems to be so much negativity out there right now that I thought, well, I don't need that in my life, and neither does anybody else. So in order to stop that, I'm not going to allow that to happen. I'm not even going to open the door for that to happen. So I'm sorry that you can't, put your comments and chat to each other below. It's just something I have decided, and I'm personally strong with my boundaries, and I think that it's the right thing for me to do. So for those of you that don't want to listen to the energy side of what's going on and how it affects us, I hope you'll join me again soon. For those of you that have stayed, thank you. Thank you for coming and joining me on another journey. And this journey is really about how energy affects us in our everyday life. And energy is out there, right? We are a composition of energy before we're human. And I don't know how much you know about this subject or how many of my videos you've watched. And I'm still trying to find the right avenue for it all to flow through, for it all to happen. It doesn't, let's say it's not coming together easily as I would have liked. So, here's the thing. Let me just get these out of the way because that doesn't feel right. When I start working with energy, I become what is known as a channel. And because I'm empathic, which means that I am sensitive, very, actually super sensitive, I become much more able to feel energy around me, in other people, etc. And so this allows me then to tap in and tune in to that which most people can't see, and most people can't feel, or most people don't even know about or consider. Now, I've been doing this side of my work, what I call my celestial side, for over 25 years. I've been doing it all my life. I just didn't tune into it. I didn't work with it. I didn't know about it really, I suppose. Let me just... Sorry, I just wanted to give you a better background to kind of look at. When we use these backgrounds, let me just tell you about a background. It's known as a yantra, which is a visual that you can consistently look at and focus on and use in a meditative format. So let's just backtrack 1 second, just while I've explained that, to say energy affects us. Whether you believe it or not, whether you're tuned into it or not, is irrelevant. You're energy before you're human. And even when you're crafting, for those of you who have stayed from the crafting side of my life and followed this video through, you're affected by moon energy, you're affected by energy, and it's that energy that flows through you and from you that transforms itself into form, physical form, in the way of crafting. And if you hadn't noted it or hadn't recognized it as that, it's only because you didn't know about it, or you didn't think about it that way. So it starts off as a thought and a process happens, and then it just evolves. And if you are a crafter, of which you most likely are because you're listening to this, or you have watched this video earlier, the earlier part of this video, you can get lost in your craft work. You can completely lose 2, 3, some people lose a whole day just by crafting, because you get absorbed into what you're doing. So you could see that actually as a meditative process, which is what brings around relaxation. And that's exactly what a lot of people say that crafting does for them. It helps me to relax. It helps me to forget about the problems going on in my life. It helps me to focus my attention on something so I can distract myself from something else. And whichever way you look at it, it's okay if you're not spiritually inclined or understand celestial energy, or it's fine. Nobody's asking you to. I'm just here to explain it to you. And if you're not interested, then that's fine also. Stop the video. But for those of you that are and still wondering why the process happens, how the process happens, then part of that reason I'm here is for that, It's to express it into form through words and into form through creativity and craft. And when my products get made, when I say they're made from the heart, truly they are. I'm not an artist, and I wouldn't say I'm any good at probably some of the stuff I do. What I do know is that I am energy before I'm human, and that energy can take form in any way I allow it to. And so I allow it to come through when I'm working, even when wrapping my products and selling my products on Etsy. They are made with the energy of who I am. And so they will have a certain feel or a vibration to them. And I'm sure that many of you can relate to that part. And especially, I'm going to do it in 3 different ways, explain it 3 different ways to you. If ever you've been into a home or a house that you were looking to buy and it didn't feel right, that's what I'm talking about. You just know whether it's the right house for you or not. When you're working and you're looking for products, I believe that you will find the product that's right for you. Not only physically, but you'll find it vibrationally. So that when you receive that product from wherever you've bought it, it will feel right. Now, I have a lot of people when I do coaching, especially on the spiritual development coaching side, that say to me, I picked up an item from the shop and it just didn't feel right. So that's the vibration, okay? Vibration is in everything you do, everywhere you go. And vibration sticks. So if you've got a negative person that's tried on a dress, quite a few negative people, maybe that's tried on a dress or a pair of trousers, and you go to try them on and you're an empath, you're going to feel the energy from the previous people that have tried that garment on. And this is the reason some of you don't even know why it's happening to you, and you'll get home from the shops and you'll feel completely annihilated and absolutely sucked dry of energy. And it's because you've interacted with negative vibrations out in the world. Now, we can't avoid it, but we can do some things to protect ourselves from it. And also, when you're doing your craft work, you need to be mindful. Well, you don't need to be, because that's your choice. But it would be lovely, wouldn't it, for everybody to be mindful of what energy they are in when they're actually crafting. And a lot of people over the years have said to me, and I've noted it as well as I've gone along my travels in different modalities of my work, especially with art therapy, that people who have got depression or mental illness, I'm just going to categorize it as that, or any form of physical illness, you will find that when they do their paintings, the colour they use normally shows you where they're at energetically. Not always, and I would say that not always, simply because I love to use dark grungy colours sometimes and make dark grungy journals, and it's not where I'm at vibrationally. I like that colour contrast and the texture and the depth of grunge. But I also like these colours that you're looking at now. And these colours actually make me feel much, much happier. Look, as she says, the sun shines right across the screen and you can't even see it now. So colour has a vibration of its own, as some of you may already know. And it affects us in our well-being, both mentally, physically and emotionally, because there is a thing called colour therapy. And colour does lift the vibration. Now, the reason it affects us so much is because of a thing that is unseen to the human eye but does exist and has been, I believe, scientifically proven, known as your chakras. They are vortices of energy that exist outside of your physical body, but hold your emotional, mental, physical body together and attach it to your spiritual body or bodies. Okay, I'm not going to get too technical past that point. And when your chakras are out of alignment, you will have imbalances in your human, mental, emotional bodies of human self. And there are ways of clearing these energies and keeping them in a better vibration. But what the world needs to learn and wake up about is realizing that they do exist, and energy affects energy. Like attracts like. And if you're a negative person, whether that's consciously or non, you are going to attract the very same thing back to you if that's what you're giving out. So how does that translate into craft work? Look at the shapes on that. Isn't that beautiful? That's craft in itself, with the sunlight shining through the right hand side of my window onto this beautiful piece of paper and causing a shadow effect. How gorgeous is that? So you could see the darkness in there, but you can also see the light. And the two work hand in hand. You cannot have one without the other. But the light can be tuned into, tapped into, and utilised, even when you're in a dark space. And those vibrations of darkness can come from imbalances at a non-physical level, but also they'll hit you at a mental, emotional and physical level because they're trapped. The energy is trapped between physical, mental, emotional and spiritual, as they say. Now, some people will say, I'm not spiritual. Some people will say, well, I am spiritual. Some people will say, well, I'm religious. And some people will say, well, I'm not religious. And what's the difference? And blah, de, blah, de, blah. Well, you are who you are, people. And it's irrelevant as long as you embody. Everybody embodies a beautiful, beautiful soul. Everybody. It's when it moves from the soul into the humanness and goes via the free will ego level, it becomes a problem. Not for everybody, but a lot of us are struggling right now. And the world is changing and the doors are opening to reveal mental health for everybody, for a lot of people that have been struggling for years and years and years. But is it mental health? Question mark. I don't doubt that it's there. Like, I know, because I'm one of those people that have a label attached to me called mental health. But I don't believe in it on a non-physical level. And the reason it affects me at a physical level is because, or I'm allowing it to, is because something's not right on the outer level, on the shamanic level, or whatever you want to call it, celestial level. And when that area is balanced up there, then it will come to your physical, mental, emotional self, and you'll be balanced there too. So I believe that the whole world has got mental health issues. It's just another label for everybody to see and know about and not be ashamed to talk about, which is great. But we've all got it to 1 degree or 100 degrees. We've all got it. We've all had it. And I think the reason there's more of it is because we are awakening more and more to the soulful level, the enlightened level. Whether you are consciously aware of it and or not. And this awakening is great. It's hard work, but it's great. And you can develop it. And you can utilize it. And you can use it in everyday life. I do. People who go to church do. And they all have different ways of doing it. Everybody has different ways of doing it. So some people in the religious area would believe in a certain a certain energy known as Jesus or known as Mary. Some people in other traditions would know Kali or Persephone or Buddha. So there's hundreds and hundreds of different energies have got a label on. Archangels, angels, ascended masters, light workers, galactic beings. It's all energy. And that's exactly what you'll be when you leave this earth plane. You'll no longer be in physical form, you'll just be pure energy. And that's what you was before you came to this physical form, was just pure energy. And so this physical form is holding that pure energy. That life force energy is within each and every one of us. And what the universe is showing me along this pathway is that we're all waking up to much higher frequencies. What a lot of us is happening to a lot of us is that we're not getting it, we don't understand it. Some of us know it really well. Some of us have lived it and worked with it all of this lifetime, and probably many others. So it's just a little bit to think about. I'm not saying you've got to go to church. I'm not saying you've got to become religious, or you've got to start doing mantras and yantras and becoming super spiritual and guru-ish. That's not what it's about. A lot of people have really fallen off the wagon with this. I've met thousands, trust me, along my pathway over the years. But some people just want to be free of the ego levels of life and the egoic free will that people exert, and the negative frequencies that are bound through the world, which actually we've created. It's because what you think is what you create. So if we was to all stop thinking negatively, then the world probably would be a much better place to live in. I think it's a wonderful place to live in, and trust me, I have my days, I have my dark days, I have my troubled times. I'm human, but I'm also very, very spiritually attuned, aligned, and tapped in. And I use that energy to release the darkness, to free myself of the egoic energy that tries to manipulate me and send me off on a tangent in a direction I don't want to go, and pull me down. And some days it's more successful than others. So what I'm saying here is, don't give up. Use your energy, let it flow to create craft work for yourself. Create journals and let those journals go out to people, because your vibration is in them, and you will spread your love through that product. So whenever you're doing work, light your heart up, open your heart up, and work from that space. I can always tell when I go into a shop the type of shop it is just within 30 seconds from the vibration, how many negative people have been in there, and I really don't do hospitals or doctors for that very reason, because I can feel every fear that everybody has in that room, and it's really hard work for my body, physically, mentally and emotionally. So there are levels to protect yourself. You could use crystals to protect yourself. If you are very sensitive to energy, then work with the darker crystals of black and tiger's eye. That's very protective. But the best one is black obsidian for protection. There are natural remedies. Australian bush flat essence and wild earth animal essences are the ones I use and I'm trained in. And you can use one called fringe violet that will help you protect your energy field. From the wild earth animal essences, you could choose one of the animals that would give you strength and courage. You could use buffalo, or you could use elephant. So again, vibration is vibration. Truth is truth. That's all there is to it. Don't complicate it. But your work through your craft is important. If it's important to you to help you get through a dark moment, don't sell that with your dark energy. You can change the energy within it by blessing it after you've finished it and giving it a love vibration. And again, those are the energies you can work with. You can have healing from people. Not that people can heal, but they can channel the energy to help your body release blockages. So you can use crystals, you can use energy sprays, you can use elixirs. And they're all natural products. I don't know why people think it's something completely out there and mystical beyond normality, because it's not. We've been using herbs, etc. for centuries. Yes, there are some people out there who misuse it, but then you could say that about anything in life, couldn't you? There are some nice people out there, and there's some not so nice people. It's not for us to judge anybody. As long as you know who you are and you have firm boundaries, then you're on the right pathway. But work with your energy, work with your guides, work with your... Everybody has them. Angels, archangels, you've all got them. You're all being looked after, whether that's an energy you believe in or not, whether you believe in a god or there is a particular god by a certain name. It doesn't matter. What is important is the communication between you and it on a regular basis. And I mean every day. But we'll get into more of that in another vlog, podcast. I don't know what you want to call it, a vlog. That's a video log, isn't it? But a podcast it could be, because that's, again, I don't know what the difference is between the two. But it's really about me imparting the knowledge and wisdom that has channeled through me over the years, that I've come to work with for over 25 years, and I will always start my day off there, giving blessings to the universe. You've all maybe heard of gratitude journals. They've been on the market now for a very long time. Gratitude journals, the first way is gratitude, and I'm going to take you through some of the common laws of attraction, manifesting laws over the coming weeks. I'm going to leave it there for today, my friends. And thank you if you've continued to stay on the channel to listen to me. And I'm sure this information, in fact I know, I'm not sure, I know this information is going to help somebody. I've been doing this work too long to know. It's not about me, it's about what comes through me and imparts upon other people that makes the difference. So thank you very much for joining me. Please do feel free to subscribe, like, and I'd say comment, but obviously you know you can't, because that does help the channel to grow, and everybody else then can start to get the messages that they're meant to get. I don't worry too much about that, because I know the universe takes care of me, and the universe will make sure that the right people will find this information, and I trust in that. I have super massive faith in that. So namaste, my friends, all the way around the world and back again to you. Until the next time.